Hello, Sonoma County. I'm pleased to be speaking with David Goodman, the Chief Executive Officer of the Redwood Empire Food Bank. The food bank is the largest hunger relief organization serving northern coastal California from Sonoma County to the Oregon border. Wow, that's a lot of distance, a lot of hunger to satisfy, especially now. David, thank you for all that you do. And thank you for joining me today. We really appreciate it. So why don't you take a minute or two, introduce yourself and exactly what the food bank does, and then we'll get on to the challenges that you're facing now.
Sure. So I'm David Goodman. I'm a hunger relief worker here at the Redwood Empire Food Bank. In addition to being a hunger relief worker, I am the CEO. But everybody here on our name tags has hunger relief worker because that's really what it's all about. And what we do is we feed people in need of food assistance. They may be low income people. They may be people who have recently found themselves in a food insecure situation, but they don't self-identify as low income. I've been doing this for 25 years now, and I've never met anybody who has the same story and what brought them to need of food.
So we are in a unique situation, unlike the disasters that you have helped us through previously. So from your perspective, what are the current challenges facing our community due to the coronavirus?
Well, first of all, so the Redwood Empire Food Bank has responded to disasters over the years, starting with the 2008 economic downturn, really, and then we had the Sonoma complex fire, and then we've had the, public safety power shutdowns. We've had the Kincaid fire. We've had the federal shutdown, the Russian River flooding, numerous things. In all of those cases, we've always referred to ourselves as second responders, and that all the firefighters and the police and the medical go out in the community. They tend to the people's needs, and then we come in after the fact and we feed the people, and we feed the people for longer than anyone can ever imagine. Just as an example, with the Sonoma complex fire, we have a program here that we call Station 3990, which is any response to disaster. When we activated Station 3990 in response to the Sonoma complex fire, we were active for 14 months. So the fire was a couple weeks, and we fed over 120,000 people over the course of 14 months. And that was 5,000 homes burning. What is unique amongst many things with COVID-19 is it's not 5,000 homes, it's every single home in Sonoma County. And the numbers that we're seeing, the increase in growth of people in need, although it's noteworthy right now, 1 month into it, or a little over a month, it's yet to even arrive yet. The wave is still coming. As long as people are sheltered in place, the wave of need has yet to arrive. We are, that's number one. And secondly, probably the biggest hindrance to what we're doing are twofold. One is the safe distancing, means that people are sheltered in place, so they're not coming out or able to come out and help, or when they do come out to help, the distancing that's required to help puts a strain on our system. So what used to be, 20 people in 40 feet is now 20 people in 120 feet. So it just takes more distance to make room for, or I should say 240 actually. So that's very difficult for us. And then the second part of that is the fact that the safe distancing is requiring us to put all food in boxes, because we're issuing the food in boxes safely and through drive-through distributions. I hope that all makes sense. It's very complicated.
It does. I think we've seen some of the photographs of the volunteers, the National Guard coming in, your volunteers pitching in and distributing food. So you've talked a little bit about the challenges, how it is different now than it was before. But sort of explain how you contract with the county and maybe lots of counties. What food resources are available to our community right now?
Right. Well, I am pleased to say, and I don't want this to sound like I'm promoting the county in any way, because I'm the first guy to be rough on any inefficiency or any government entity. But I'm telling you that Sonoma County is stellar. And yeah, no, and I mean this, that we have an agreement that we hammered out with the county, that other counties throughout California and the nation are curious about and want to see our contract as a model for what we've done. And basically, in its most simple form, the food bank pulls in millions of dollars worth of donated food and federal government commodities throughout the year. Sonoma County has basically said, hey, Redwood Empire Food Bank, if those run out, we will be your backstop to support any need to fulfill or fill out the provision of help should you need it. So we take free food, we take federal commodities, we make lovely provisions of help, boxes of food for people. But we also now can operate with the understanding that if things run out temporarily, because it won't be permanent, temporarily, that we can fill the rest of the box. And that is fantastic.
Are you using donated, locally grown food as well?
We use local food, whether it's locally grown or whether it's locally donated, meaning people go to the grocery stores and buy food. People harvest from their local crops on a commercial basis or a private basis. But we should be clear that we can outstrip. We can take every bit of grown produce in Sonoma County. We distribute, before COVID-19, 9.5 million pounds of produce annually. I think that Sonoma County has hundreds of thousands of pounds. So we are ginormous.
Well, we appreciate that ginormousness that you employ. So where can our residents get more information about food resource assistance?
The easiest thing for people to do is simply go onto the World Wide Web and just Google Redwood Empire Food Bank. And on that connection, there will be need food, and there's a button they click, they type in their zip code, it'll tell them where they need to go for food. If they're on the other side of the equation, which is that they want to help, there's a button that says donate now or volunteer now, and they can click on either of those, and it's pretty self-explanatory.
I'm so glad you mentioned the donate now, because in part of every comment I say to the community, please donate to the food bank. There are lots of incredible organizations providing services and food distribution, but often it starts with the Redwood Empire Food Bank.
Well, you know, Susan, if I could just add to that, that what I wanted to add before about the prior disasters, where we are different now is food banks, the Redwood Empire Food Bank and food banks all across the state and throughout the country. We are the first responders in this go round. And so it's put us in this very interesting position of what you see in the news. The only people who are able to help right now are the hungry relief workers.
And thank you for that. We need you now desperately. So here's your chance. What 3 messages do you want to convey to the community? You already talked about donations. That's good. What else?
Well, I think that boy, that's a great question. If not now, then when, I suppose, would be the first question I would have for people. If you've been waiting to help and trying to figure out a better time, there will likely be no other event in our lifetimes that are more significant than this one. So now is the time to help. And I think the type of help is, what do you have to offer? What is your skill set? I mean, do you own property? Do you own warehouses? Do you own refrigerated trucks? Do you have cash and you want to support people financially? What is it that you have? And I think it's just to ask that question of yourself and then answer it and then offer it. I mean, I think that would really be it.
And initially, you were asking for volunteers, as is normal, and then you stopped asking for volunteers. You were concerned about safe distancing. Are you accepting volunteers now?
We are, however, because of the complexity of volunteers, normally on normal times, people can walk in and it's very casual. Now we are simply taking volunteers through our website and they actually register to volunteer. We actually decreased the number of volunteers, didn't cancel the way you described, although we did cancel the way you described. Later, we just decreased them just to be good at what we were doing. That there was sort of this ferocity, this frenzy that was taking place, and we needed to kind of tamp it down a little bit and get some control over what was going on. It's really important that the food that we offer is both, is thoughtful, is well packed, that is durable, it's going to last, and that takes a little bit of pacing.
And we know that the food distribution network that extends beyond the food bank also needs volunteers and donations, and the organizations distributing food varies throughout the county. So please research the great community organizations that are involved in the food distribution in each area of the county. Thank you, David, for everything that you're doing, but also thank you for taking the time to talk with our community right now. We appreciate the work that you and your staff are doing to keep Sonoma County healthy, fed, and safe. And for those of you who are watching the interview, this is part of my virtual report for COVID-19. Look for my virtual reports online at socoemergency.org and youtube.com/official Sonoma County. Thank you, David, once again to all of your staff and your volunteers. You're doing a great job.
Well, thank you very much for your time and attention, Susan. And by the way, thank you for your personal support. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And anything that we can do personally or as an organization, we absolutely will do to support the good things you're doing.